Hey Nick, does the green light on top mean it's recording, or do I have to press it?
The green light up here just means that is the light that's on.
Okay.
So when I'll notice, like when you hit the record button, it'll start blinking on the front end. There you go.
Oh, I see it.
All right, so go ahead. I got her started on the recording piece. So for videos, by all means.
I just had a 7.5.
Where at?
Right here, standing.
Standing right here.
Yep.
Perfect. See, that's where the happy notebook comes into play.
Happy notebook.
So at this point, yeah, go ahead and tap it. It'll turn to a square. So at this point, don't tell me anything below that 7.5. We're going to keep raising it up.
Okay.
So I guess I should start with what exactly is her device measuring, since she's already gotten a reading. It's measuring the electricity in the air. We're in a space where there's no electricity. So what that's going to do is if you were to put that behind your TV set, I'll give you a point of reference. It's going to read about 40 to 60 milligauss. So that's pretty standard. That's safe enough, electrical fields in your home that you can deal with. Stand next to a microwave, about 150 to 170. The highest I've ever seen that device go in all of my 10 years has been in this location, 214 milligauss.
Wow.
We left. Those are dangerous levels. So again, the guy with epilepsy is not going to play around with, electricity in the air and neurological disorder. So it was during the time that I was showing that person how to use it, and I'm the one that caught the 214, and we bolted. I gathered my whole group up, and we were out of here. So it happens. I will also be completely candid with this location before I get into the history of it. This is one of the spaces I was looking to retire. The reason why, I've been coming here for over 3 years. I love this space. I know it's just a parking lot, like you mentioned. However, there's a lot of activity that goes on here, but we've been getting some very unwelcoming messages based on disrespectful guests of mine. So this is a prominent English woman that we're going to be dealing with here. I'm not going to say tiptoe and watch how you speak to her, but watch how you speak to her. So again, we will lose all activity and or get some unwelcoming messages that are not coming from the radio. So, and I know that kind of creeps some of you out, but that's also why some of you are here. So let's talk about why we're here. Welcome to the parking lot. You made it. Congratulations.
Made it a parking lot.
This space used to be something. This used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney mansion. Their mansion sat in the front of this space, facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. That's the layout of the land. Who the heck were these people? Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Chucks. Now you guys know why we look for secondary clues. Again, I need to know which one we're actually talking to. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a big deal for us, but I hate politics, and if I don't bring it up, they usually do it for me in a very angry manner. They want the recognition. Yes, you're looking at me like, this guy's really crazy. So, we're going to talk about Eliza. She has a much cooler story anyway. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards. I love how Candy's so focused on her device. She's been staring at it the whole time. So I say today's standards because if you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, you're not going to hear numbers from colonial time girls getting married of 12 and 14. You're going to think of today's standards, and I bring that up because her husband was over double her age when they married. A creepy age gap in the 1700s, a creepy age gap now. So just kind of put that in perspective. But anyway, she married him because her father was over in England, where she's from, and he thought he was dying. He was trying to bring all of his kids home one last time, and Eliza didn't believe he was dying. So instead, she gets married in 1744. You don't get married in 1744 for a green card. We're not even a country. So she did marry him out of love, and there was no foul play. Don't poke that bear, by the way. Some people in the past have done that, and it gets ugly. So she decides that, she's going to get a hold of her dad and, say that I'm going to stay put, and she was right. Dad did not die right away. He starts sending her gifts from England to this space. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for at least a day. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. Indigo is a plant that makes our blue jeans blue. It makes a blue dye for us. But when she got them, she didn't know what to do with the seeds. She had to learn from her servants and slaves on how to keep it cultivated. It's obviously not hot here all the time. So when she figured it out and experimented with it here, she moved it to a cash crop and then got a hold of her dad and told him that the rice plantations were going downhill, that they were going to make a killing with the indigo. There's now an international businesswoman during colonial times. That's something absolutely unheard of. So that's the boring business stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird shit, because that's why you guys are all here, right? Andy's like, yeah, let's do this. All right, so first spirit box. I'm going to kind of go around the room here of those of you with a communication device and kind of give you a series of questions to focus on based on one topic. If there's something that you're not getting an answer to, cherry pick off of something that I gave to somebody else. So with yours, and it only giving us like 1 to 2 syllables at a time, the mansion's not here anymore. Ask what happened to it, and when did that happen? Obviously, it's some kind of tragedy, right? So we're looking for a very specific date.
Okay.
So, but that would be, and you can also ask like about the marriage too. Like that would probably be a good question for your device that we've done in the past. Candy.
Yes.
Eliza that we just talked about was the second wife named Eliza from Charles back to back. Yeah. Creepy or cool, depending on which kind of guy you are. So, ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. Figure out which Eliza we're dealing with by asking what her maiden name is once we spread out. I see you're like ready to ask right now, like you're so eager.
I'm so excited.
I'm like, ask.
Yes, I know. Ask.
So with yours, look for those initials, ELP. We'll see if we get anything else. I have seen a very specific word being spelled out here on 2 different occasions, like a couple of weeks apart, same word. So I want to see if it pops up again, and yes, it's relevant to the space. So again, can't deny the fact that I got the same word being spelled out when you're getting nothing but looks like a prescription coming through right now. Do you have any letters popping up?
A C. I've had a C the whole time.
All right, so let's turn up your sensitivity a little bit. Hopefully you start getting a little bit. Larissa, was it? Am I getting the name right? Elisa.
Yeah.
Sorry. See, you
have
guys
my
just got to correct
radio.
me. Yes, but you have a good one. So with yours, the children.
Yes.
Actually, no. We're not going to go with the children on yours.
Okay.
You're going to get Eliza's death instead.
Okay.
Eliza, how old she was, what she died from, where she's buried, what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. Yeah.
How old she was.
Just think of the normal questions about a death. How old she was, what did she die from, where she's buried, what president. You got it. You don't have a spirit box? The children are going to go to you.
Oh, Lord.
The reason why is because you said, you had a few drinks. I'm trying to keep it simple.
I'm a social worker for Child Protective Services. That's why.
I'm not that good of a psychic. I'm not a psychic at all. So, the children, ask how many, what their names were. That's it. There's a tragedy there. Don't poke the bear. This is usually the one thing that upsets Eliza and will stop all activity. Have you had any other numbers, by the way? Okay. So, we're going to spread out. Obviously, there's a lot of cars in here tonight. We don't go in between vehicles or near vehicles. So, we're going to stay on this front half.
I forget what I was supposed to
You're just
Basically,
watching.
Oh, I'm just
Which
watching.
you're
Okay.
watching at this point. We're going to see what
No
pops
wonder
up.
I can't remember. I'm not asking.
Yeah, I didn't give you anything super
That's
specific.
why.
But again, everything that's recording right now is on. So I
say
double
this?
check that.
Why
I'm going
is
to
this so
keep.
red. Oh, Mom.
It means it's going to be getting something here shortly. So those are part of the aesthetics of the app. So remember that this is a phone app, and now it
Right.
says husband, and it went super red.
Right.
Interesting. And you had the letter C show up. The
And now
husband's
I
name,
have CV.
CV,
Charles.
Charles. Interesting. See if anything else pops up on it.
Husband.
Now what?
Respect.
We're gonna be respectful in here. That was almost kind of like a heads up.
Oh,
Yeah. So the green and the blue down at the bottom, above and below the letters.
that doesn't matter.
No. So the thing growls and does all kinds of other stupid shit. Yeah, I turned that down because we don't need it. We just need the dictionary.
Okay.
So what it's doing also, so everybody also understands, it's also going through the radio stations. That's what these numbers are up here. It's just going through it in the hertz of the radio
I don't
station.
know what mine's.
It's giving you letters.
Oh, it gave me a lot.
What did it give you?
C, V, D, E.
Yeah, I got nothing on that. I don't even have initials that would match up to that. Also keep in mind, we're still relatively close to Big John's. We will at times see bleed over from certain locations. We could have been getting Pinckney Mansion stuff over there and vice versa. So again, I have had John's name show up here. That's a pretty common name, but we've also had his jersey number, his birthday, those kind of things to kind of verify that it was actually him coming over.
Do they ever misspell? Don't forget me.
So with the
Like D, E, D, V. Could it be dead?
what we've seen in the past, like the second night we used that, now I haven't had that for too long, like maybe 3 or 4 months, we actually had all of the letters of Eliza with an extra letter mixed in. It was E-U-L-Z-I-A. It looked like Yulzia, but it's definitely all of the letters with Eliza with a U interference.
Yeah.
So again, it's going to pick up on any fluctuation of EMF detection. So that's where the letters were coming from. I was very excited about it, to be honest with you, because I wasn't really sure how that was going to work in the field. being a brand new, like we're trying to teach the ghosts how to use the damn thing.
Right.
So, but yeah, the second night, and we get all of the letters of her name with only one mixed in that shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I've also seen the name Marguerite spelled out at another location that we're going to be at later, and it was missing one letter. So I think it was missing the first R, so it looked like Marguerite. Like, and that's a very long name to spell, and it is relevant to that space. So I was kind of excited about that one too. Again, isn't always like a every single night or every location going to give us activity like a spirit box. But I will tell you, when we have gotten things out of it, super cool. All right, let's spread out. I'm going to keep Casey behind. I'm going to be bouncing around with all of you, writing notes down of what you guys are hearing and what you're seeing with your cameras and listening to and all of that. So,
Do we talk out loud? Or ask our question out loud?
Great question. Everybody asks that. Whatever you're comfortable with. If you just want to focus on it, like, you know, whatever your questions were, that's fine too. If you want to ask out loud, some people are uncomfortable talking to people they can't see. It's just a matter of whatever you're comfortable with. I'm not here to force anybody to do anything, but you all signed up to go ghost hunting. I'm showing you how to do it. So, all right, Casey, come on over. Let me show you how to work this thing. Everybody else, let's spread out. All right, look here.
What?
I think I'm unmuted. How can you tell?
You'll start to hear. Yep, you're unmuted.
What am I supposed to hear?
So you're going to hear little tiny spurts like that come through,
Okay.
and hopefully a word or two is going to pop through from time to time. Remember, you're only going to hear 12 or 14 all night long.
Okay.
There you go. Now you're getting little things.
All right.
All right.
I went all over the country. Did not hire
This music.
Are you recording?
Yeah.
Tell me about the house that was here. Tell me about the mansion. What happened to your mansion?
I'm not really getting much over here.
Did you see anything? Were you watching?
Yeah, but it's like...
Tell me about the mansion. What year was it?
Okay.
So with this one, I normally
It's because we're near a tower right here.
You what?
How do I keep seeing? You get anything?
Radio. Static. Tell us about your house. What happened to your house? We want to hear from you, Eliza. Tell us about the house. What happened to it? We're down here by the front, by your front gate. It's like radio static, you know? Huh. No song or anything I can make out. It's just, you hear it?
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like radio static.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What did it say?
Night. I heard night. Cold. I heard cold and night. Probably a DJ. It's a cold night.
It is a cold night.
But you know, I wonder if it was a cold night when something happened to the house. Did something happen to the house on a cold night? Tell us about your house.
Alright.
We want to hear it.
You guys getting anything out of the box yet?
Cold and night are the only words I've made out.
Separate, cold and night.
Yeah.
Oh, let's get out of the way of the vehicle, everybody.
Was she 21?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And John.
No, but we are 1 block away from the
Is John?
and we did get the word giant on the So, I have to look at them as how much more can I get. That's going to be relative. Anything else come out of there? That's 21 John.
Huh?
That's cold and night.
And weekend. Just got weekend. I'm
So
thinking
that's a
of-
common radio term for sure.
And cold and night.
Especially tonight.
Tonight, cold night and weekend. It kind of
It's
makes
actually
sense.
warmer than it's been the past 2 nights, I'll be honest. Like, I don't have my hand warmers tonight, and I'm actually
Did something? I was asking about the house. Was a house? Was it destroyed in summer, winter?
winter.
I said, tell me about when your house was destroyed.
And you got cold night
Yeah,
and weekend.
yeah.
I don't. I'm trying to remember the day. I want to say it was a Sunday. If I'm going to be completely honest, I'll look it up. But I know for sure it was in the middle of December.
It was a cold night.
Yes.
Well, maybe so.
It's something. It's a
something.
stretch.
It's a stretch.
It's a stretch.
But hey, it's something.
Yeah, what you got?
She's hilarious.
Wish Ken was here. Tell us about your house. Was it a cold night? What happened to your house? What happened to your house? Elijah, what happened to your home? Was it a cold night? Terrible.
I don't like the sound of that.
Did you hear that?
No, I don't also have it next to my ear.
What year was your house destroyed?
We have like triple shadow showing.
You do?
Yeah, look, 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah, from the different light sources.
Yeah.
What year was your house destroyed? Tell me more about it.
I'm over here now.
We're walking to your front gate.
Awful?
What?
Did you awful?
We're walking to your front gates, Eliza. Fire. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
Did you hear awful?
Yeah.
I couldn't understand that. What?
I have to fart, but I don't want to take it up on the worm.
I'll be recording. Eliza. Was there a fire? Eliza, was there a fire? Tell us about that night. We're by your front gates. Tell us what happened to your house.
You have the other radio, right?
Yeah.
Are you hearing anything? No.
Awful. Was it awful? Tell us about it. What year was it? Awful, terrible fire.
It was an awful, terrible fire.
Was it?
It was.
Alright, it's a little too creepy now.
Why? This is what you came here for.
She heard it too. She says, I heard all this too. Tell us about the fire.
Make sure you're recording.
Eliza, tell us about the fire.
Give us the date. We're looking
Give it-
for the date.
I've been asking her for the date. She won't give it. Eliza, give us the date of the fire. Two? Eliza, please tell us the date of the fire. She likes right over here.
Yeah.
Eliza, tell us the date of the fire. We're here by your house. Tell us about what happened. Oh, they're getting together.
Like completely.
I want to know the date.
I don't know the date too. I already asked her how many square feet the mansion was.
You might not have even measured like that.
Anything
What
else
is
over
it?
there? She said it's getting creepy. Let's find out if it's getting creepy or not.
Should I mute it?
Go ahead and mute it for me. Go ahead and kill your camera and kind of give your hands a break. Stop the video. We don't want footage of the ground. Listen to all the ghosts in the background.
The rowdy ghosts are many.
Wow. Saturday nights. I can't wait for summertime.
Oh,
man.
I can't imagine.
Just leave it down there.
So winter time, just so you guys know, I normally would go to an 8 o'clock tour time. This year I decided to change it and just keep it 9 o'clock all the time. The 8 o'clock tour, like there was just too many people out here for me. Like just way too people-y. You know, for my little groups of 10 to be huddling around with a bunch of gear and trying to navigate through that at 8 o'clock, like I'm going back to 9 o'clock. My wife's not happy about it, but did you have any footage in here?
I didn't see anything.
Okay. I was just giving her a minute just in case something was going to float by. And then we'll go learn about pirates. And again, she probably won't see it in real time. Alright, you can keep your cameras rolling if you want.
Okay.
Excuse me, just going right around the corner. But yeah, let's go learn about crazy pirates. Jay, I'll get us near a sitting spot for you, buddy. Is that Quantum Leap back in the day? Does anybody remember that show?
Yeah.
Am I aging myself at this point?
That's a good point. You're not going to cover it right here, you go back to your home or...
Yep. I heard corner. Iguana corner. Another parking lot.
Look at that church up there. I think that's what we put to your left.
Oh, yeah.
Oh shit, we're gonna have the hand warmers out. Whole night. Jay, if you want to have a seat on the wall, buddy, you can.
Okay.
I'll put you in charge of the bag.
Oh, you be our guarder of our bag.
Right here.
Perfect. Have a seat. All right. So, anything weird along the way? I know it was a short little.
We heard hiring and corner.
I heard turn around and shot through the heart.
Shot through the heart
And
at
pirate
Doors Alley.
and boot.
What? What was the last one?
Pirate and boot.
You did? You heard that?
Yeah, all of those
Welcome
words. I
to
mean,
my
they weren't
world,
all
everybody.
together, but
All I do is get a
those
bunch
were
of
the
beans.
clear words that came through.
Wow. Pirate and boot. Holy cow. And then shot through the heart
Shot through the heart.
as we were at Doors Alley. Like,
Wow.
I told you, bleed over.
Wow.
This is me excited, everybody. And then you had the corner.
Hiring and corner.
Dog.
Yeah! That's me excited. All right.
Are you serious?
I am dead serious.
Because
Wow.
it was weird.
Isn't it? It's
Yeah.
going to make a whole lot of sense here in a few
Okay.
minutes. I'm
So
stoked.
wait, when they're hearing these, is it static and then all of a sudden a word breaks in?
Yeah,
Yep.
just
Yeah.
staticky
Just a
and
radio
weird,
chatter bust through.
and then
Okay.
a real clear
Word.
word will
Word.
come through,
Oh,
and then it goes
that's
back to
weird.
being inaudible.
Yeah, give it a listen. All right, I'm excited now.
Uh,
We have
The
pirate
dog.
boot and dog. Oh shit, this is gonna be good. Love it. As I haven't been this stoked in a while. I've had some really late tours the past couple weeks. So let's get into it. Casey, just so you know, numbers are not a big thing here. You're
Okay.
next to an electrical pole.
okay, got it.
So don't get excited when you get like a 10.
We're
We're here because of this building right behind me, the one you guys are staring at. And those crosses are not crosses, those are earthquake bolts. If you're unfamiliar with earthquake bolts, it's basically a turnbuckle. It goes all the way through the roof. So in the event we have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886, like I mentioned earlier, you can turn the turnbuckles, and it's supposed to tighten the building back up so it doesn't incur any further damage. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. So all the Californians that get on this in the summertime laugh their asses off at me because they're like, yeah, that doesn't work. I'm like, I know, I'm going to tell you that. However, I bring this up because that's part of the reason why we're here. These are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in. Reason why is because this is the oldest government building in South Carolina. They needed to protect it. It was finished in 1713. This building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny was coming to this area to start her new life, which is why we're here. This is a familiar building. If you've seen the TV shows and movies, this is like putting a toy out to attract a child ghost. It's what I call a familiar. So, this building took 10 years to build, by the way. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? Right about right?
Yeah.
So, follow me. Our story begins right in the middle of it. There's a lot of twists here, ladies. A lot. I will slow down on the twists. So, ladies and Jay. Sorry, he's out of sight, out of mind right now. So, 1708, a young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Is everybody with me so far?
Interesting.
You got that, Jen? I see you trying to put it together.
But it's her father.
Her father and his
And
mistress.
But that's her mom.
Right.
So her mom and dad.
Yeah. I have to make it dramatic.
It's not married, right?
It's going to get even worse. Hang on.
Oh, boy.
The three of them, Mom, Dad, and Anne, are running away from her father's angry wife.
Oh.
You guys with me now? Why I have to make it so dramatic? Yes. Okay, perfect. You got that one? Okay.
Yep.
You're so quiet. I gotta get you talking. All right, so they land in Georgetown. That's between us and Myrtle Beach. So Dad bought a plantation, and by the way, how angry was that wife that they had to leave Ireland in 1708? There's no planes yet, folks. So again, yeah, she was pretty pissed off. But again, Dad bought a plantation. Mom died pretty quickly. That means he's sending young Anne down here to Charleston to sell anything from the plantation to help keep things afloat. Let's take a step backwards back to Ireland. Anne is said to be a badass even then. When she was 7, 8, 9 years old, remember this is pirate lore, no exact numbers, they say she killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly. We've had the terms servant, knife, and belly all show up in the same evening. Yes, I know, weird, but it is one of those things where I put the mentality of this young lady as we kind of move forward. 1713, the building is done. By 1715, pirates are coming through town. Anne is stoked. Why? Because she's going to fall in love so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. It's a man's world. She wants to get her freedom. This is how she's going to do it. First guy she falls in love with. Yes, I said first because there's a handful, and we're going to go through them. First guy is James Bonny. You already see where this one's going, right? We already mentioned her full married name. Dad didn't approve. They ran away to Jamaica. They got married, and Cormac is now Anne Bonny, the famous female pirate. However, James Bonny is not Captain Jack Sparrow, like what she was hoping for. This guy is a privateer, which means he's a spy for the British. He's basically ratting out his own men. Yeah, exactly. So he's a coward. This is not who she wants. A few years later, she falls in love again. Guy number 2. This is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. This is the guy they based your Johnny Depp character off of for your Disney movies, just so you know. So this is the guy she wants. Calico Jack has his own ship and wants to be part of it. Can't put a girl on a pirate crew. Does anybody know why?
Bad luck, right?
Exactly. Good job. Thanks for keeping it family friendly. So, I get a lot of answers to that one. So, he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and hide your gender and look like my crew, you could be part of it, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her away from his wife. So she's like, whatever, let's do this. Let's put 2 and 2 together. She's a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the cruise. Somebody's going to figure it out. So he drops her off in Cuba before she starts to show her pregnancy. Have the baby here. These are friends of mine. They'll help you. Come back later and we'll figure it out. She goes and has the baby, but returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to the child, and I, through all my research, had yet to find it. So I stopped digging. A significant part of the story is that she comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty angry because now his crew's going to know that he let a girl on the ship, which is obviously bad luck, and they will vote Jack off the ship. So, watch. She was away giving birth. He captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck. She's going to go flirting because that's who Anne is, and make him even more mad. We're on guy number 3, in case you lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack captured. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark. Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for sure. But the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to take down one little pirate ship. Yeah, Anne and Mary, rumor is that they were the only 2 not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1 bullet flintlocks. That's not a very good thing to do. They probably didn't know how to use the cannon jet. Obviously, 2 ladies cannot take on a whole fleet of ships with 1 bullet guns. They get arrested. And as they are getting arrested, she looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and she says, "I'm so sorry to see you here, but you should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up here a lot.
Seriously?
Seriously. I'm stoked for that.
It was weird.
We've even had dogs barking on the way in.
Really?
Yes. Like people have heard dogs barking from a commercial or something crazy. But anyway, the judge wants to see the two quote-unquote men that fought back so valiantly after he's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight 2 days prior, November 26th. So November 28th, the two ladies go in front. He doesn't know that they're female. So they reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. And he doesn't give a shit that they're female. They're still pirates. So he's still going to hang them. "We plead our bellies," was the last thing they screamed out, because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still up here in the South Carolina area with all of his Irish money, and he bails out Anne, brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary. We don't really know. She has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. We don't know much about her after her pirate career. Some rumors say that she went to Virginia, changed her name, 4 kids, died up there, buried up there. We have no idea. Mary Reed died a year later in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Most books will tell you that it was fever and something very simple. I'm going to say it's pirates. Let's make it romantic and call it scurvy. Why the hell not? So that's kind of how that one goes. I left out 2 measly details out of this so you guys had something to work with. You guys seem like you know what you're doing by now. Normally by this point, Spirit Box people, you know how to ask questions. But the 2 things I left out, the name of her parents. That's the father and the mistress. I do know those for sure, and they usually come through together. It's usually only one person that gives it to me. They will say that it's Nick and Jay. I'm just using that because we're standing next to each other. We're not really married. So, head nods over here. So the other thing that I left out is the name of Calico Jack's ship. So everything else is kind of fair game. Casey, with yours, you are going to turn on your motion sensor, and you're going to ask Anne to have her show you what her hair color is. The only way for her to do that is to touch the antenna. So how that came about was I was trying to help somebody using one of these red spirit boxes on, they weren't getting the gist of it even at this point. So I was like, let's just go with something simple, a nice 1-word syllable answer. So I asked out loud, Anne, why don't you tell, so-and-so what color your hair is, and we got a red. So I was like, maybe it's just the area that we're in of the lot. No, we moved 4 or 5 different places, same thing, on response. So we often, what's funny is we heard the term red wine leaving here just the other night. So it was just kind of one of those funny things. It is what it is. We were asking, the person using that device was asking the whole time, didn't get the answer, but somebody else heard, I just heard red wine. So, initials for you that are going to pop up here, hopefully ABMR. Let me know if you see the letters SHH come up consecutively. It's not relevant to the pirate story, but it is relevant to something else nearby that I haven't heard from in a while. So just want you to... Yep, so shh, basically, telling you to shut the hell up. Everybody else, let's spread out. We are going to stay within the confines of this. Other tours will be passing through here. If you want to chill here and just get some nice footage, just to kind of nice slow motion, you could do that. I'm perfectly good with that. But yeah, let's spread out. Let's have some fun. Let's do this. Sadie, we got to get you talking. We're going to get this video, and she's going to have this whole miniature commentary going on.
That's definitely his miniature commentary. Shut up.
What am I asking here?
I don't know. Yeah, what are we asking?
Anne, tell us about Jack's ship. What was the name of the ship? Anne, tell us about your parents. Tell us their names. What was your mother's name? Tell us your father's name.
Is he watching the camera? No, Mom, nothing pops out. I can't, there's nothing like on my, like I can't see anything. It all just looks normal. Like, look. There's, like, it just looks like... See? See, that's from your
Did you hear that? He said go.
Who?
Say the name again. Anne, if you're
Did you
there.
hear that? There's pirate music.
Anne, if you're there, say the name again. What was the name of your ship? What was Jack's ship called? What were your parents' names? What was your father's name, Anne? Tell us about the ship. What was the ship called?
That's so weird. There's a
The
dog.
dog. I wonder if she's doing a high reading. Put your camera in her direction.
What did it come in?
Are you getting a high reading?
I got orange and a lot of blues. Yeah.
Did you?
And I keep asking what color her hair is.
Yeah. Tell us about the ship. Anne with the red hair. Tell us your parents' names. Did your dad have an Irish name? Tell us his name. Tell us your mother's name, Anne.
There's glass there. Don't stuff there.
March 11th.
Mhm.
Remember that.
I love that. Trustee. Getting anything?
No.
Me neither.
Tell me the name of the ship. Jack's ship. Tell me about your students. March 11. Very clear.
Yeah.
And trustee or trustee.
Yeah, it's really strange. It's so staticky and stuff.
That's premature.
And then,
The March 11th, and I think it's off by one day, but John Calhoun is buried on the other side of that wall,
Yeah.
and I want to say his birthday is March 12th.
Huh.
So
We heard it like right over here.
yeah, and what's weird is I don't even normally talk about him until March because he died in March and was born in March. So we kind of get a little bit of a layover, and we'll start to see like his initials and his name. You know, we'll get
Around
vice
his
president,
birthday.
the number 7, because he was the 7th vice president. And we'll get a lot of clues relative to him. But you have almost a very specific date. I'm going to verify, you know, the 11th
Yeah.
part of it, but we at least have the March.
Yeah.
So again, remember,
Yeah.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I don't always need all of it. That would be really cool if it was the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, that would be a really ideal thing to do. Really cool. Got a couple things going on. Casey, you got anything?
Well,
That was from you moving. Oh, that's not from you moving.
no. Many blues over there. And you might
Just trees and that, like, steeple. Just beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
If I was a ghost, I would want to live here.
I was on the lip.
I guess ghosts don't live, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And tell us about your parents. I think it's real. I think that's a real man.
So funny.
I'm the old ghost tour.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna put you down as a ghost.
Yeah.
I know. Hey, you guys are gonna put me on film.
Booze.
Yeah, booze.
Stevenson?
Anne, talk to us. Tell us about your parents and You hear Stevens?
Who?
Stevens?
Heard Stevens or Stevenson.
And tell us about the ship. Tell us about your parents.
She doesn't want to.
She doesn't want to.
It's okay.
Uh-huh.
Anything else?
Booze? Stevens or Stevenson? Cool.
I don't know who the hell that is. Running?
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
No hard thing. Well, it's not
Alright, so here's what I'm excited about. So the first thing I'm excited about is the phrase March 11th that was actually heard on the SB11. Came out again.
There you go.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, pay attention to the pillory. Nobody was captured. They just needed somewhere to put it.
Prop for the tourists.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's reportable evidence.
Is her name on there?
Yeah.
I can't make this shit up, guys. I swear.
Write that down.
There's no button that I can make this stuff go off.
I enjoyed the laughing.
Yeah, I was whispering.
They got the
Oh, that's so funny.
Often get groups like this. That's why I'm going to think myself, because I don't always get the fun, laughable, but still take it serious. Yeah.
But not too long. Not too weird.
A lot of different types of people.
You probably get some really dark people. No.
I would say my average customer is
Well, those are
45 So when I get like those young, like millennials, 20 to 25ers,
Yeah.
they try to bunk everything.
Huh.
And that's fine by me.
Right.
And I'll keep them on their toes. But they wouldn't look at that candy thing as coming up as anything weird.
We did a tour this summer in Salem, Massachusetts, which was very interesting. The tour guide was a little... She was very into it. But that was a very interesting town.
I would love, that's on the
Have you
bucket
ever
list.
been there?
No, it's on the list.
Yeah, we were in Boston. We'd gone to Nantucket this summer, and the kids really, that son was on reading her, but they really wanted to go. And I'm like, okay, we'll go. And all of us really enjoyed it, but didn't see anything.
Well, you have the proper equipment.
Yeah, we did. It was just a walking, but
It was just really dark.
it was very dark.
Like I got
Yeah.
sick to my stomach so fast.
Yeah, it was very kind of creepy.
There are certain,
They say there's still, that town is full of underground tunnels.
yeah.
You know.
Well, there's been a couple of the shows, the paranormal shows that have like investigated underneath.
Yeah.
So we can actually see it. I want to say the Wraith Chasers were just there a year or two ago.
But it's a darling town. I mean, just, it's beautiful.
Oh, I'm sure that they thrive on Halloween.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And the Hocus Pocus house,
You're right.
you know, all of that.
Well, like us here, like it's a stretch for me to really like know my boundaries because we're in the Bible Belt. Like,
Right.
I really have to watch who I talk to, like around town. Like if I want to try to get something together, I'm tiptoeing a lot.
Yeah. Have you done New Orleans?
That's the next on the bucket list.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say next. Philadelphia's next. Like I'm heading there in August.
A lot of angry homeless people there.
Where?
Philadelphia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's turned very sketch over the last decade.
Okay. Yeah, I've never been.
It's beautiful and very interesting. But yeah, a lot of street people.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't surprise me. I'm gonna see, like, what I do is, I visit museums and places just like you guys. I just have a bunch of gear running.
Yeah.
So ghosts don't give a shit if it's day or night.
Right.
Like, I just have everything running and watch and listen to it later,
Yeah,
and then I do the research.
Philadelphia would be a great town for
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Well, not to mention that's where Eliza's buried. I've been talking about her for 3 years. I like to go pay my respects.
Oh yeah.
So that's like the first thing as soon as we get there.
And were the cobblestones here original?
Yeah.
Like they don't come through and like patch them up or put new. Are those like ballast rocks?
Those specifically, I'm not sure of, but I know that we have some that are Belgian block. Ballast, more than likely.
Yeah.
But we also have to remember like where most of this rock probably came from. A lot of it probably came from England.
Yeah.
I used to take, we used to go through another alley where we would talk about the Belgian block, and I had to do a big study on it because of the way its properties are and that kind of thing. We're gonna make a left. Oh,
It is on.
Definitely get some footage in here.
It's been on.
Oh, good.
Ooh.
Yep.
Alright, still got Jay with us. We're gonna get him.
Whoa.
Come on over, Jay. Have a seat, buddy.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Alright. First off, anybody here see anything? What do we got going on before I get into why we're here? Oh, come on, you did so well with the last one. Wonderful?
Wonderful.
Okay, anybody else? Nothing? Any letters? Jen?
S.
Just S. By the way, this is the place where I left my notebook, for those of you that know that story. Yeah, it was on the bench way over there. So,
Still there.
no. Oh, it was still there when I went for it, yeah. And all the pages were still in it too, so now I can go back and update last night's investigation. So I'm pretty stoked for that. But anyway, welcome to Washington Park. So this is a very interesting space. This location in particular, the first time I came here, was just with a couple. It was too cold that night, everybody else bailed. So I said, we're gonna experiment and we're gonna see what we're gonna find. There's a ton of monuments in here. We didn't know what we were gonna find. Everything we did find was relative to that man of that monument right there. We had his exact birth year, 1828, come through in a spirit box. I was like, I don't know what the hell that means. Then we heard the name Henry, and then the name Tim showed up. That man's name is Henry Timrod, just like Nimrod with a T. So we had Henry, Tim, and the exact year of his birth. Now I knew I had heard of this man, and I knew I had heard it on another tour, I just didn't know the full story. So I had to go back and do some research. Very quick scenario of what this man is. He was a poet. He was very sick through most of his life. Obviously, being born in 1828, he was old enough to go fight in the Civil War, which is exactly what he wanted to do. He is a native Charlestonian, so he was fighting for the Confederacy. He gets to the battlefield, and his friends realize he was too sick to fight. So they sent him home. They said, go be the voice of the war. So he came home back to Charleston and started writing poetry based on what was going on the battlefield. Really heartfelt stuff. So, a few years after that, he actually became the laureate of the Confederacy. That was his title. But he had a son, and his son had a very specific birth date. You guys are going to hopefully find out what that is through your spirit boxes. But he died at a young age shortly thereafter. So hopefully find out what that was as well. We usually get his death date here. So 2 years after that, his college friend calls him up and says, you know what, I got a cottage out here in the middle of the state in Columbia. You can come out here and finish working on the piece that you're working on, and you can have some peace and quiet. So he goes out there, and this is where he writes his last words. His last line was, beholder of brief mortality. And it means person of short life. And then he coughed, and it landed on the page in a blood stain. He had tuberculosis. Now, this page is actually being held at the Charleston Library Society, just down the road. This is where I heard that story. Now, the blood stain looks like a man writing over his desk. They only show that page one day a year on Halloween, and you have to be a member of the Library Society to be able to see it. However, the internet is beautiful. So, this is your blood stain. You can also see the last line that he wrote, beholder of brief mortality. This is called the blood book. Isn't it? Welcome to a good, creepy story to end your night.
Oh, wow.
It's called the blood what?
The blood book. That's what they call it, since he coughed on it, and the blood stain of his TB is on the actual page. So, with this specific young man, I will tell you, he died at a very young age. You can ask what that is as well. But what I'd like to do to stir things up, because he is an introverted poet, I'm going to read a stanza from his poem called Charleston. It was written right in the middle of the Civil War. And what that does is it kind of shows a little bit of respect as writer to writer. That way we can actually stir things up a bit. But along with that, a few weeks ago, while I bring this up, I will tell you, you guys know what those stick figure cameras are? Or you can see the stick figure of a person standing there, and you're supposed to be able to find the stick figure of the person you can't see standing there. You guys have never seen those on your TV shows? Yeah,
No.
it's a legit thing. So somebody brought one of those cameras on the tour. I don't carry it because it's giant, right? It's a giant, well, you don't know. It's a giant camera. Like it weighs like 15 pounds all by itself.
Walk around with that?
Oh yeah.
He's
Exactly.
like, not me.
What I will tell you is when we came here, we had a full interaction of a stick figure standing next to that monument. And when I say interaction, it was a, Henry, is it okay if I read a stanza from your poem called Charleston? Please raise your right hand. And it raised its right hand, and then it dropped it. So, we found a way to actually get this stick figure camera on the tour where we don't have to carry around this giant thing. There's new technology out there that actually allows us to do it, and it is on the way. And I've been in the talks with the developer of this app and software, so that way I can see that it's actually going to be legit. So in the future, that is going to be a major highlight of the tour because it is a pretty solid piece of camera work. So, getting back to his stanza. We know not, in the temple of the fates, God has inscribed her doom, and all untroubled in her faith she waits, the triumph or the tomb. Again, written in the middle of the Civil War, basically stating that Charleston's fate is based on the fate of the war, the triumph or the tomb. And there are certain nights where we've actually gotten the terms triumph and tomb in the same evening after I've read this stanza. So, we are going to spread out. Casey, with yours, this is a place where we've seen spikes of well over 100. Yeah, grassy knolls. Find it. I never know where it's going to be. It's different every night. You don't need your REM, that's the motion sensor, until you find that spot. So you can probably turn that off until you find the high numbers.
Okay.
I'm not even going to tell you the common places that we get it because it's never the same place twice. Well, it is the same place twice, just not consecutive nights.
So over 100.
Over 100.
Turn on REM.
You got it.
Got it.
Everybody else, you guys know what you're doing in here. You can ask about the son. I did not give you his name, so you can ask his birthday, his death date, how old he was, the wife's name. I didn't even tell you that he was married, but you can ask for the wife's name if you'd like. You can even ask for the college friend's name. We've had his initials show up in the past, and I'm going to tell you the ironic thing, Jen, we were talking about SHH earlier. This gentleman's initials are PHH.
Okay.
So we're like, that's what we're looking for. Yeah. All right.
And what was his name again?
Henry Timrod. So they're even starting to teach Henry's poetry right alongside Dickinson and Poe in colleges now, because they're realizing how important it was to see what was actually going on in the battlefield. So Jay, you can actually chill right here, just nice slow movements, hold your camera back and forth, see how the monuments take things in. But again, I was like, oh, we can get him to, a bench and have him just chill here. Again, you guys are going to have an amazing thermal imaging video because a lot of times I give that thing to the little tyke of the group because it's so like, oh my God, what is this? And they can't stop staring at it. But the problem is it's one of these. Wow. So, but you guys are going to have a nice, calm video coming out of this one from this investigation. But again, this is our last stop, so definitely spread out. Let's have some fun. Other tourists do like to come in here, and we've had a few homeless kind of come in and do their thing. So just kind of be mindful, stay in pairs. But yeah, let's spread out. Let's do this. How's your light coming on the top? Do you see any flickering on your screen? Okay. This is a location where that light starts to flicker. I don't know if it's based off of time. There's some nights it does it, other nights it doesn't do it.
Okay.
So if it starts
Time
to flicker,
meaning like
how much time we've had it on.
on. Yeah.
Okay.
And the battery draining.
Yeah.
Now, every single device gets fully charged before I leave the house every single day. So
Yeah.
it's just one of those pieces where do I have to renew that one every 3 months instead of every 6 months because it's just a cheap light. But that light works way better than the bulbous ones that they give you with that camera.
Yeah.
That's why I like the LEDs. You get rid of all the false positives.
Huh?
Henry Timrod. Tell us about your poem. Tell us about your writing. Tell us about your poetry.
Picking up much over here.
Tell us about your son. What was his name?
Lem? Welp? Tree.
Tell us about your son. What was your wife's name? We have a cat named Henry.
What were the other questions?
His wife's name. Sometimes they get his friend's name. His son.
The day that he died.
Yeah, the year that he died. Tell us about your poetry. If Dad was here, he'd get poetry words.
Yeah.
He'd probably get a whole poem.
It's funny.
Hold it up and kind of spin around with it.
Gaines Mill. Fort Fisher.
Richmond. 7 times. Henry, tell us about your son. Tell us about your wife. I'm just walking around.
No. What do you think I'm doing? I'm not like this. It's just that you can't see, like, anything. Bouncing around. Like, you're so rude.
Every time I look over there, it's just bouncing.
Well, yeah, because I'm walking. I'm not going to be like...
Henry, you got anything for us? Have you gone to bed?
I think Henry's a little tired.
Henry's tired.
I'm with Henry.
Allison?
Yeah.
Henry, say that again.
Wife?
Tell us about your wife.
Blue?
I didn't hear blue.
I heard blue. You were Barb.
What was it, Allison?
Yeah. Charles.
100%.
You want a hint?
Yes.
So the first place we normally get it is exact opposite of where I'm standing by the bench over there in the corner. We don't get anything over there, like say even in the 10s, 20s, 30s. Where we came in, those grassy knolls over there, we've seen it over there as well.
These grassy knolls and these benches right here.
So straight across the street.
Tell us your son's name, Henry. What did we hear? Allison, white, and blue? Or
Yeah.
blue?
Blue or blue, and 100%.
100%.
What's his name again? Henry?
Yeah.
Henry.
Henry.
Old man.
Old hand.
What?
Tell us about your wife and your son.
Five.
I think 5. Tell us about your son. How old was your son? Tell us about your wife. I don't know. We got a Lou or a Blue. We got Allison. Something that sounds like Allison. We got 100%. We got 5. Did we get anything else?
I'm sorry, what was the first name?
Allison,
Allison,
Lou, or
Lou.
Blue?
5. I don't know what 5 is.
We thought we might have heard the word wife.
It's funny because she has husband.
Yeah, we
on
thought
her.
we might have heard wife. That wasn't as crystal clear.
Yeah. Casey? Okay. Where was your 12? Okay. Nothing at the other spot?
Nothing.
That's where we were getting our hits last night. It's never the same.
That's weird, isn't it?
Well, this is also a space, again, we've seen 157 over there, and then the next night it's nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
And then a couple weeks later, we get something over here, it's like 110, 114.
Yeah.
27.8. From 0. Wow. God, I hate Saturday nights. It's gonna get so much worse. Well, you guys are in Raleigh, so you probably guys have the same problems up there, don't you?
You know, it depends on where you are. Like
Yeah.
if you're out by like Chapel Hill or UNC
Yeah.
for college kids, Saturday night is, you would not want to do a ghost tour.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, in the summertime, there's some areas where I'm like literally navigating through other tours.
Yeah.
Like,
We've never been here in January, and it's been so pleasant today not to fight just hordes of people.
Yeah.
yeah.
I imagine your weekdays are better.
As far as like
Tours, like crowds of people.
with the crowds, yeah. I mean, Fridays and Saturdays, like, don't get me wrong, I'm usually pretty busy, between 6 to 10 people nightly. But as far as navigating through other tours, Sundays and Mondays are usually my best night. I've noticed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard right. But I've been asking for the sun thing and the right thing.
Alright, let's go follow up with the rest of these folks. We'll see what we got going on.
$90.
94. 90 and 94 in return.
She had a couple hits, don't get me wrong. She had a 17, she had a 27, but nothing that was like rising, what I normally would see, if something was truly going on. However, they thought they heard the word wife, and you also had the term husband.
Yes.
So again, not that it isn't anything, it's a really big stretch until I find something else. So those are the things I'm excited about. The 27 was pretty good, but again, I've seen well over 100 in here in both of those two corners that I sent her to. And again, I was waiting to see if it's going to be somewhere else one night, because again, I think we even had some like 50s and 60s over in that corner. So again, it's never the same thing every single night. But again, some other clues might pop up that I might find that might be relevant to another person that's here. Again, most ghost tours will tell Henry's story, his full story, at the Library Society, just because that's where his collection is held, as is the blue book, or the blood book. I said blue because you said blue. So, see how subliminal messaging works?
Yeah.
I'm not going to set my notebook down. I'm just going to go into my pocket so I don't freak out. So here's what this is going to look like. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to start collecting your devices. I'm going to hand my business card, because it's a digital business card. You tap it to the back of your phone. It gives you my phone number, my email address, and the website. So that way you guys can check out things ahead of time. I stopped with the physical business cards because they just get tossed out. So this way it just stays right in your phone. If you have an iPhone, there's a QR code on there. Scan it. It won't do the tap, just so you know. But I'll just hand it to Kia, and you guys can pass it around as I collect devices.
I'll let Jay tap because I don't know how to do any of that.
I'll start this way and then move it around that way.
I don't. I am not a technology.
You're on the wrong tour, dear. There ain't nothing but tech.
That's why I got scared when you opened up your backpack.
Yeah.
Like,
You're
oh,
going, oh,
boy. I was like, oh my God.
So I don't time this, but I will tell you, we've been out here for 2 hours and 24 minutes. So that means you're definitely going to have about 10 hours worth of media coming back to you.
Oh my gosh.
It is. That's why I don't go through it all. That's what you guys paid for. You wanted a full, head of work. So here's how this is going to look like tomorrow morning. Everybody always asks me about my own investigations. That's at the top of the data page in the form of a podcast. The blog is also there, so you can